graph. Okay, what do you know about graphs? I've done this lesson in grades. What do you know about graphs? Yes? Idea? Graph and what type of graphs you have drawn? Yes? Katiki, Oshan? The function of the graph, right? So, really, in something y equals x, something like this. This is called the independent. And this is called the dependent variable. And dependent. Why do we call x, y as dependent? Because when we have the substitute values for x, which 1, 2 values for x, so because of that it's independent. According to the value of x, we substitute for y. According to the value of x, substitute for y. So y depends on x. Y depends on, therefore we call y variable. As an example, if I write y equals 2x, y equals x, so if we substitute x equals 1, therefore y equals 2 times 1, 2. If I put values for x equals 2, y equals times 2 equal to 4. So y depends on x always. Therefore, x variable and y is the dependent variable. Okay, right. And also, have you seen any same function y equals mx plus c? Y equals mx plus c. What is this? Equation linear graphs, right? Graph x and y are independent variable, dependent variable. Same way, m we call it as gradient of the function. Function. M is the gradient and C we call it as intercept. And C we call it as intercept. So what are the functions? Y equals dependent, x equals independent, m equals gradient and equals intercept. Okay, write it. Write the subtopic. Graph of a function of y equals x plus c. So we can write y equals x plus y is the constant variable. Dependent okay, down. Okay, right now look at here. Y equals 3x plus 2, 3x plus 4. According to this function, can you tell me what is the gradient? Now gradient is m means according to this one, what is the gradient? 3. Gradient is 3 and what is the intercept? 4. Good. So now note it down. I'm going to write few functions. Write the gradient. Like there are 6 terms. Now note it down and write down the gradient of each function. Now done. Let's go. Have you finished? Define the gradient and intercept of all these functions. For others, ask you. Right. Tell me the gradient and intercept. Second one. What is the gradient? 4. What is the intercept? -3. Very good. Third one, what is the gradient? Good. Intercept? 5. Fourth one, what is the half? Intercept? 1. Right. Here, what is the gradient? 3. Okay, what about others? Oshan? Okay, what about Oshan? Oshan? Huh? Sorry, Oshan, I didn't hear you. Correct. I'm asking the answer. It's 3. You got gradient as 3. That is wrong. And the first have to is the form of this one. Y equals mx plus c. අපි හදාගන්න y equals mx form එක. So how do we do it? Can take minus x to the side. So we have y equals x plus 4. Then next, negative y have to make it. So y is 1 over 3 plus over 3. Correct? And rewrite this like this. Then next, we can find the gradient and intercept. So then we have the gradient as, right, g. We have gradient as 1 over 3. Intercept we have 4 over 3. Okay, got it? Right. So first of all, we take x to this side. 3y equals x plus 4. Okay. So how do we make y as the subject? Here 3y, no? We have to divide the whole equation by 3. So you have y this side. When you divide x by 3, that means 1 over 3. Okay? Plus 4 divided by, okay? Have the gradient as okay, can you hear me now? Right. So now rearrange. Now, do you have any doubt with this one? No, right? Binali, Spetiki, Oshan. So rearrange, I'll give you 1 minute. Rearrange this one, the form of this y equals mx plus c and find the gradient. Did you find the gradient and intercept? Gradient and intercept, did you find it? So you can find y. Y is equal to 6 by 2x plus 7 by 2. You can rewrite this. Y is equal to x plus 7 by 2. Therefore, gradient is equal to 3. Intercept is equal. Got it? Good. Svetaki, Oshan? Right. So then shall I erase this one? Well, roughly recall what you all have done in part is also what you have done in previous grades. It. So darling, yeah, form normally take the linear parts in the y equals plus c. There are types, right? So we'll see. You have drawn graphs, right? If I ask you to draw y equals mx graph, y equals x graph. I'm right. I'm roughly drawing, right? Y equals mx graph like this. Okay. If I ask you to draw y equals minus when the gradient is positive, draw like this. When the gradient is negative, draw the graph like this. Okay. So if I ask you to write y equals mx plus c, x plus c graph comes like this. So no, draw the graphs one by one. y equals, as an example, so y equals x. Right, now take the graph papers. First type we are going to draw y equals mx graph, y equals 2x, right? So how do we draw this graph? How do we draw this graph? We'll have a small table x, 2x and y. We'll have x values from negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 1. So put there, have y equals 2x. No. So we always take the independent variable first. Then we take what you have, 2x, then the dependent variable, right? So x is negative 3. Y is how much? Sorry, 2x means how much? X is negative 3 means 2x is negative 6. Right? So therefore, y equals how much? Y is equal to negative 6, right? Is negative 6. Y and 2x is equal. Negative 2 means negative 4. Negative 1 means x is 0 means 0. X is 1 is 2. X is 2 means 4. Can you understand? Can you understand? Right? So then we have the y values negative 4, negative. Okay? Right. So now we'll draw the graph. Take the graph papers and draw vertical line which is y, and draw the horizontal line is x. Right? So mark 0, 0 here and leave two squares. Leave two squares and mark 1, another two squares 2, another two 3, another two squares 4. Same way, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. Right? So the vertical line also can mark two squares by 2 by first two squares. Have enough. Two squares, you can quickly mark it on the graph paper. You have marked finish, let me know. Finish marking the Cartesian plane. Right, Svetagi, Oshan. Right. For this one we call it as Cartesian plane. Call it as Cartesian plane. Right. We have the x-axis. We have the y-axis. This point we call it as origin. What is this point? Origin. This is the x-axis. This is the y-axis. Point we call it as origin. Right. The whole thing we call it as Cartesian plane. Right. Y equals 2x graph passes through the origin. Okay. So we'll mark the points. Call for the points we call a name coordinate points. Coordinate points. So we have -3. When x equals -3, y equals -6. And mark it -3, -6. Can go through the squares and mark the negatives. Mark it a small dot, right? Don't draw big ones, or else can have a small dot like this, or dot and a circle. Okay, it's so can have a small dot like. Right, then we have -2 and -4. -2, -4. -1, -2. And 0, 0. 1 and 2. 2 and 4. Then now how do we mark? Can keep the ruler and draw a straight line. Passes through this point. Now my book. Straight line. Within one line you have to draw. This is y equals, which passes through the origin. Passes through the origin. Okay. Done. Okay. Right. So can you understand how to draw y equals 2x graph? That means y equals mx. So try to draw example 2 y equals 3x graph. Try to draw y equals 3. y equals 3x graph, right? Always the graphs are drawn using pencil. Don't draw using pen. And now, according to the graph, according to the values got, can have the scale, right? You see what are the values you obtain. So what are the values? Then we have x, x, y. We have 3 times 3 minus 6 minus 4 9. By this. Okay, so now using this coordinate points, we can show the graph. Yeah. Have minus 3 and minus 4, 9. 3 and 9. So, and 9 comes in And we have 2 and 6. 2, 6. Okay. Negative 1, 3, then 0, 0. 2 and 6. Have the points now. And go a straight which passes. Hope you can see graph which obtain y equals 3. Okay, you got this graph? Binali, Svetaki, Vashan? Right. Any doubts? How do you mark the points? No problem, right? Right. So then shall we draw a graph which has a negative intercept, a negative gradient? Now previously what happened? Had the graph, if the graph which is y equals m positive gradient, right? Now we are going to do second format which is negative m, negative mx. So we'll have an example, negative 2. Right? Have now have negative 2x. Okay, we have the right. So you have to draw the second graph. So now we can see we have negative 2 gradient. Oh, x is negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 2 is how much? Negative 3 times negative 2? Tell me the answer. Yes. Negative 2 into negative 3. Negative 2 into negative 3. Negative 2 times negative 3 is how much? Positive, right? Negative 2 into negative 2, positive 4. Negative 2 into negative 1, positive 2. 0 into negative 4. Negative 2 into 1, negative. Negative 2 into sorry, positive 4. Negative 2 into 3, negative. So we have 6, 4, 0, 1. So now we can draw the graph in the Cartesian plane. The coordinate when it's negative 3, y equals 6. Negative 3, y equals 6. Negative 2, y equals 4. Negative 1, y equals 2. 0, 0. 1, 2, 4, 3, 6. You have the graph. Now what can you say? When the gradient is positive, the graph is this way. When the gradient is, the graph is this way. Straight line. Okay, I quickly draw it. What about now, darling? When you're finished, let me know. Okay, darling. What about others? Pinati? Huh? Yeah. Okay. So then, shall we move to the next type of graph? So we'll write for the graph which is mx plus c. Now we have the gradient and intercept both. This is the third type. Y equal draw. Y equals 2x plus x plus x. So we have x. Then we need to find 2x. Then 2x plus 3. Right? So how do we find the values for y? So you substitute values for x, 2x, we have to find plus 3. You need, if you can skip this step, right? So same value now you get this one and this one, so you can skip y because plus 3, 2x plus 3 is same as 5. So that one if you want. If it's complicated, you can draw y, no problem. Not draw, write y. Right. So we'll find when x equals negative 3, how much is 2x? Negative 6. When x equals negative 2, 2x is negative 4, negative 2, 4, 2, 4, 6. Now we need to have plus 3. Negative 6 plus 3 how much? Negative 6 plus 3? Negative 3. Negative 4 plus 3? Negative 1. Negative 2 plus 3 is positive 1. 0 plus 3 is 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. 4 plus 3 1. 6 plus 3. Okay, got it? Any doubts up to now? No. Right, Binali? Pratiki? Right. Then take the graph paper. No, wait. After that, you can. Now, previously, what happened? We centered the graph paper and draw it. Now, you look at the values which you have obtained for y. You have obtained negative 3 and 9. So, darling, you can draw the vertical line. No need to draw the x-axis center, right? Because you can see most of the values is in the positive part. That means in the top part. So, two numbers only is in the down part. Until up to next, draw the line somewhere like this. Have negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative. This way you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 5, 6. In is y-axis you have to name. have negative 1. That is, you have to name it 1, negative 2, negative 3. Okay, so now you can mark it. 2x plus 3 graphs, we are going to mark it. Negative 3, negative 3, the coordinate points. Negative 3, negative this position. Negative 2, negative 1. Negative 2, negative 1 here. Negative 1, 1. 2 and 3 position. 1 and 5. 2 and 7 and 9. So now you can draw the line like this. My line is not actually straight according to the board. Draw it. Do you want me to draw it in the graph paper? Where we have no need to have it center. You can have like this. Have by 2 get 1. You'll see. By 2. Okay. This you can draw the graph. Then we can mark the points. Negative 3 and negative 3. Negative 2, negative 1. 2 and 3. 5. 2 and 7. Connect the points. Okay, did you get this graph? All of you? Right. Right, Putte. Now what can you see? What can you see in this graph? This y-axis, can you see y-axis? You can see this y-axis cuts at one point. What is that point? Y-axis cut on a point. What is that point? 3, right? Very good. So 3 is what? You can see our equation is y equals 2x plus. So this line cuts at 3. So what can you say about this 2? The intercept, the intercept is 3, the lines cut at 3. If the intercept is 4 means what? Then the line cuts at 4. The intercept is 1, line will cut at 1. Can you understand that one? Line will cut, actually not cut, it passes through that point. The intercept is 5, the line will passes through 5. Line will passes through 5. The intercept is 2, the line will passes through 2. Okay, got it? Right. And this is a positive gradient. This is a positive gradient. So the line is in this way. Line is this way. If it is a negative gradient, the line will in this way. Okay. Right. So shall we draw another one graph? So we'll draw y equal plus plus 5. Right. Y equals 3x plus 5 graph you can draw. Right. When you are drawing, if you now we'll see. You'll start to draw. Have you finished drawing? Okay. Right, what about others? Okay, we have x-axis. Oh, the plus 5 is plus 5 is plus 5 is 5 negative. Y axis, the origin, right? So we'll mark the point, have negative n, negative, negative n, if negative 1, negative 1 means negative 1 and 2, negative 1 and 2, 2 and 5, and 5. Have 1 and 8, and 11, and 14. So we can 9 now. So we have the graph y equals x plus 5. You can see intercept is 5 means the line passes 5. Okay, right? Then we'll come to the next part, which is negative c. Y equals mx minus 3. Y equals mx minus 3. So can you try to draw this graph? Comes negative. Can you try to draw this graph? Right, try to mark this graph. Right. So how the graph comes? Negative 6 minus 3 is negative 9, 4 minus 7, 5, negative 1, 1, right? Have negative 3, negative 9 various points, negative 2 and negative 7, point 1, 5, 0, negative 1, negative 1, 1, right? Right. So you can see the graph passes through which point? The graph passes through negative 3. It's the intercept. Negative 3 is the intercept. Okay, got it? Right. We have another two graphs. For that, have a small break and come over. After that, we'll have for the two graphs and start the today's which come at 45. Okay. Okay. Finally, Svetaki, Oshan. Right. Come at 8:45. Right, shall we start? Finally, Spetaki, Oshan. Okay. I equals m negative m plus c time. The fifth time. We'll see as an example. Y equals negative 2x. No, take it as negative 3. Negative 3x plus 4. The graph you have to draw. Can you try to find the table? How do we find? First, we need to find the x values. Negative 3x plus the y. This is the y value. You can have negative 3, negative. Yes. Oh, sorry. Okay. What about now? Okay. Right. So you can continue the same procedure, the same darling. Can substitute values for x and find this and draw the graph, right? Start to draw if x plus c type graphs. Try to draw it in negative 6. Oh, this is positive. In, in 4. So you can draw the graph. Done? Have you finished drawing? Okay, so how the graphs? Graphing negative 3 and 13 is point 2 and 10, negative 2 and 10, negative 1 and 7, 2 and 4, 1 and 1, and negative. Here you will get the graph. As its negative mx graph is plus 4 is the intercept, therefore the line passes through plus 4. Okay? Last type, which is y equals negative minus. Can you try to draw this graph? Do we have minus 5? Have minus. So can you try to draw this graph? See, we have x minus 2x minus same way. Start to draw. Last one. have 6 more negative. Oh, sorry. It means 5, 8. I do like 1, 6. Mark this y-axis get point. For the origin, x-axis marking the x-axis, marking the y-axis. Negative 1, negative 1, negative 3, 1, negative 5, y equals negative mx means negative 3 passes through negative. Okay, got it? All 6 types. Shall I erase the board? So we'll summarize the 6 graphs which have drawn. Y equals mx graph. How is the y equals mx graph? This way, right? Y equals mx plus c graph is how? Goes like this. And the third type is y equals m minus, which graph passes through this way. The last, the fourth type, y equals negative mx. That means graph passes through the origin, which is negative mx. Y equals negative mx plus c. That graph means negative mx is this side plus c. Graph passes through plus c. Y equals negative mx negative c. Negative mx means where negative means graph passes. Okay. This is a small summary about graph which we have done. Now passes through origin. Do you have any doubts regarding the 6 graphs? Really? Svetaki, Khan? When you are finished drawing this one, let me know. And then yeah. So now you know when the equation is given, when the function is given, you know to draw the graphs. Can you, any type of graph, if I give you any function, can you draw it or not? Y equals any type. Out of these 6 types, if I give you type, can you draw any graph or not? Can you or not? Can, right? Any, all the linear graphs. All the linear graphs comes under this 6 category. Always it comes under this 6 category. This, or this. So according to the function, you can identify is which graph. Is which graph out of this 6 graphs, right? Then you can do the graph. Okay. Now, darling, always you won't get the function and ask to draw. Sometimes they will give you the graph and ask to the function. Okay. Sometimes they will do this one and ask to draw the graph, right? Sometimes what happens? They will give you the graph and ask to find this one. Or they will give you some coordinate points, some y and x points. Now, previously we some x like this now, x 2x plus 3, right? Negative 3, negative, you got something 4, 5 something. They give some points, negative 3 and negative 4, negative 2 and 5. They will give you some points like this. They will give you some points and ask to find the equation. This one. Three ways of asking questions. First way is giving this one and asking you to draw the graph. Second, the graph is given and asked to find this one. Third, some points will be given, some data points will be given and asked to find this one. Okay? Right. So first type we have already done. When this one is giving drawing graphs. We'll see the second type. When the graph is given, how we can find the function or the equation. Don't write anything. Right. Graph. Don't write anything. Okay, right? So Pute, this is the graph given for you. This is the graph given for you. And you are asked to find the function of this graph. You are asked to find the function of this graph, the equation, right? So by looking at this graph, you can get a data point. What is the first point that you can get? You can get the intercept, right? What is the intercept of this graph? 1. Very good. And also you can decide which type of graph is this one. This is this way graph. That means positive mx. No, so graph is put there. Y equals mx, and this is also positive c, means mx plus c graph. X plus c graph. Right. C value you can find, you graph it is plus 1. So y equals mx plus 1. Okay, so we are going to find the equation. Now how are you going to find m? Now we need to find m, no? How are you going to find it? To find the gradient. Find the gradient when a graph is given, darling. You can take two coordinate points. Any two coordinates point from the graph. Right? Now listen carefully. How do you find the gradient? That m value you find. Need to find the m value. So how are you going to find m? You can take any 2 points from the graph. Any 2 points, right? So I will take this point and this point. Any 2 points, no problem, right? So this point is, we can write the coordinate points. Okay? First we write, always we write the x coordinate 2 and 7. This point we have 0 and 1. Right? You know how to write coordinates, right? Coordinate points. You have done this in previous grades. Okay. So first we write always the x-axis coordinate, then we write the y-axis coordinate. Right? So I took 2 points. Okay. So Pute, now this point is somehow here. Right? Okay. So how do we find? Any idea? Do you have any idea? Any idea? Right? Now we took these 2 points, no, darling. This is the gap. I took these 2 points. This is the gap, right? So I need to take this part and this part. What is the distance of this part? What is the distance of this part? How much is that? How much is it? This line, this distance, up to here. Now we took this one. No? We do draw horizontal and vertical line. Tell me the distance of this one. Yes? How much is it? We name it as so tell me CD. The length of CD is how much? Yes? How much is it, darling? How many squares? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? How many squares? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can take like this. 7 and 1. right? So this distance is 7 and this distance is 1. This is 7 and this is 1. So how can you find this one? 7 minus 1, right? Which is equal to 6. Okay, right? Then we'll find this distance. How much is this distance? AD distance. AD is how much? AD is 1. So we have 1 here and we have 2, right? So 2. Or else we can have 2 minus 0. 2 minus 0 is half and 2. CD and AD. Okay. So darling, we can find AC. AC is this one. AC is equal to CD over AD. AD is equal to CD over AD. That means vertical distance divided by horizontal distance, right? So we have vertical distance as 6, horizontal distance as 2. 6 over 2 is 3. 6 over 2 is 3. AC means this one. AC means this. Okay, right? So we got a value for this one. This one we call it as the gradient. And we call it as the gradient, right? Now don't think too much. Quickly draw this graph, darling. No, before that, write this topic. That this topic, geometrical description of the gradient. Write the topic. Don't write this one. Geometrical description of the gradient of a straight line. Right? And then draw the graph. Draw the graph. finish drawing the graph, let me know. Okay, what about Binali and Oshan? Right. By looking at the graph, now we'll write. Okay, so first, did you mark these points, Pute? A, D, B, C? Did you mark it? Right. Right. Length of ODC. Length of D. Length of D. Length of DC is how much? Of D. By looking at this, tell me how much is length of DC? How can we find length of DC? Vertical one. So totally from here to here we have 7 and here to here we have 1. So this distance how can we find? Totally we have 7. This part is 1. How can you find this part? 7 minus 1, right? 1 minus 1. So which is equal to 6, right? And then we can find length of AD. Length of AD. How can we find length of AD? AD is this one, which is 2 and this is 0. Minus 0 is okay. So we can find this one. This one, right? AC for the gradient. You can take it as AC for the gradients. We can have vertical distance over horizontal distance. Well, that means EC AD, which is by 2. And write this. Right. Darling, if we take another 2 points, what will have the answer? Right? We'll see another 2 points. First write this one. Finish writing? Then we'll see. We'll take another 2 points and see Putte. Right, what is the answer we get? Right, I'll take this point and this point. Right, what are the 2 points I took? This one and this one. Right, so we'll draw horizontal line and vertical line. Okay, okay. So here we'll name it as we have B and we'll E. Okay. So what is the part we have? This one and yeah. So first we'll find the vertical part. Vertical part is B. Vertical part is B. What is the distance of B? Can you tell me the distance? First, try the coordinate point. This is 1 and 4. Right? This one coordinate point is what? Negative 2 and negative. Okay? Right. Okay, so now look at only this part and this part. Right? Now tell me what is the distance of B? Vertical distance. Yes? Anyone? Dinali, Svetaki, Oshan? Binali is not there. Svetaki? That is the BF distance. -1. Okay, what about Oshan? What is the answer? Yes? This distance. How many squares? 1, 2, 9 squares are there. Isn't it? So then how comes the vertical distance? Yes. So I know what is the mistake you did. I asked you to subtract. I asked you to subtract this one minus this one. Neither. So what do we have? 4 minus, here what do you have? -5. What happened? 4 minus into minus plus 5 to 9. Okay? Okay, Svetaki? Right. So now we'll find the horizontal distance. EF. How much is EF? EF is 1 minus -2 is equal 1 minus into minus plus 2 equal to. Now we can find this distance, the gradient. That means vertical distance over horizontal distance. F over F equal 9 by 3. 9 over 3. 9 divided by 3, which is got the same answer, right? Alright, we'll write that one also. Write that part also. After this, write down length of BF. Length of BF, how can we find? 4 minus -5. 4 minus -5 equal to how much? 9. Right? 4 plus 5. 4 plus 5 is then length of F equal to F is 1 minus -2. Well, 1 plus 2. Then we have vertical distance per horizontal distance. means a 9 by 3. Now what can you say about the two values? This one and this one. That means, darling, if you take any 2 points from the graph, you can find the gradient, right? Okay, write down this part also. Okay, Oshan? What about now? Right. So we found the gradient. You can write, darling, gradient. Gradient is equal to, now we found the intercept, no? Previously we found the intercept from the graph. Intercept we found from the graph, which is +1. Right? So we can write the function, or we can write the equation. Can write it y equals, now the gradient is how much? Y equals mx plus c graph no putte. So y equals mx plus 1. This is the final answer. You can find the equation when the graph is given. Got it? Continue the next part on next day as the time's up. Okay? Right? Any doubts? Any doubts? No, right. Okay, Oshan? Right. Did you finish writing this one? Okay, right. Then we'll find out. Continue the next part on next day. Bye. Have a nice day.